It's the big misconception that we can go off and we can shoot a lighter bullet and not have to drive the gun. You still got to drive the gun because you're always going to end up with a little bit of that vibration. The other thing too is everybody flinches. You can get to the point where you don't have an overt reaction to flinch, but what you can't train out is a pre-flinch reaction. And that pre-flinch reaction is every muscle's going to relax for a half a second. You know what I mean? Less than a half a second, a microsecond.
Sounds like what it started with there.
So that's why whenever we pull the trigger on dry firing, sometimes we get a click, you know, because that click is enough to convince our medulla that it's coming, you know what I mean? So if we get in there that we have a hold on it, you know, we can start to control some of those vibrations because the gun's going to vibrate.
I got 8 o'clock hit again.
You don't have to hold it back extremely hard. Just burn pressure to the rear.
Almost the same way like with the SAS. You got to muscle it more so that you can drive the gun to get that accuracy out of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we can't, I mean, while it's going to be,
all
you're going to have to hold a 110 a lot harder.
So 1 up or 2 up?
You know, because you got boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
You're in
but you still got to give it a little bit, you know, and that affords you the ability to drive the gun through recoil rather than just letting the gun left to its own devices, because it's going to vibrate. And the recoil is somewhere. And so that's why we want to have a little bit of back pressure just to help drive it through recoil. A lot of shit's got to happen for when you pull the trigger till the bullet gets out the muzzle.
Yeah. What's your opinion on wind as far as...
So I got 1 full right now.
I know wind matters all the way, but where do you feel it matters the most?
Just
it
0.5
right. Give you the most shit at the shooter. You know, and the reason being is if I get knocked off in the first third, that bullet's never coming back because the bullet's stupid. You know what I mean? It's going to keep on going in that direction. If it gets knocked off in the middle third, it's going to keep going in that direction, but my error is less. You know what I mean? And if it gets knocked off in the last third, sometimes I might not even miss. I was doing a high angle class for first group in Oregon, and we were shooting at a target of 720 yards at about, I don't know, maybe 30.
This is the one where you were hanging upside down?
No, that was Utah. This was in Oregon. And the thing about it is you look at that target and you see that mirage, and it was screaming right to left. If you corrected it off your gut, you'd miss. Because you hold to the right, you know, fold into the mirage, and you would hit right there. The thing about it was, from the 720 yards, it was only about the last 100 yards that we had to win, because the rest of the way the mountain was, the rest of the time the bullet
12 o'clock high.
Well, that last 100 yards, it didn't have enough time to knock the bullet off.
If you want
so you hold center.
Okay.
So counterintuitive. You know what I mean? Yeah. Very counterintuitive. It hurt my soul to hold in the middle. If you hold in the middle, you hit in the middle. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like that.
So it is along the lines of the freight train analogy where, you know, if it gets off track early, it's going to continue that momentum and go down. But once if you're shooting 700, once it's gotten its ways out there, it's on those tracks and it's in motion to where it's going to be.
Yeah, well, nothing's affecting it. Yeah. You know, nothing's affecting it until the end. They say, oh, well, it affects it out further because the bullet's slowing down. Well, motherfucker's still going 1,800 feet per second. You know what I mean? We're still hauling ass. You know what I mean? So let's not get too wrapped around that axle. You know what I mean?
Go back up and just hold low.
It's like the whole deal.
Got it.
Next shooter.
So it's like the whole deal.
And hold right
in the late 80s, all the way through to about 2001. No one was ever talking about minutes. You're on minutes. You know what I mean? And at that time, the only reason I even did this, if it wasn't 900 yards, I wasn't interested.
What do you got dialed in right now?
I'd go out like every day and shoot. I had a 1,500 yard target, 1,800 yard target, 2,100 yard target. All I had at the time was 200 grain bullets, 200 grain 338s, because that was all that was being made.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There were no match bullets, there were none of that shit. But I had a good load. And the thing about it is whenever it started to go in, all right, now GWAT happens, where I've already been instructing for close to, 8 years at this point, and then all of a sudden we've got to start dealing with coriolis. And it's like, okay, I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but what you're doing is you're looking at one side of a coin, not the other side. And the other side is, whenever I throw this straight up, it falls straight down. You know what I mean? If coriolis was a fact, then if I throw this up, it's going to land over here. You can't dial anything less. You can't get around that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's the same thing. It's like if I want to go, like I said, I always use the Cabo San Lucas thing. If I want to go fishing, I just got to go up and wait for Cabo to come to me. It doesn't work like that, you know. The problem is that coriolis leaves out the law of momentum.
800.
This gun, whenever it sends around,
Target.
is also moving 16,000 km. You know what I mean? And the atmosphere is being dragged with it. Coriolis does exist. As a pilot, I know it exists. You know, I know it absolutely exists. For small arms, no. Spindrift, I've seen
Just
that.
under
You know
center.
what I mean? I've seen that.
Go
out
ahead and
at,
take that.
like
Write that
1821.
down.
I've actually
Just gonna have to
watched
hold a little bit
a
high.
bullet
Okay.
Jimbo, you
turn
shooting?
into the wind. You know, watching trace. So I know that that's. But Coriolis just pisses me
All right,
off
I got you.
because
So you can keep going.
Now, who?
Right, here's up. Ivan?
I know when you get into your software, you can start plugging away different stuff, and they give you for twist your right and left. Where did the left come
Point to
from?
your right?
I don't know.
Okay, let's
I
try.
don't know whoever did a left twist.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, if you did a left twist, your barrel would unscrew. It would. Eventually, it would. Because the bullet hits
Center
the
punch that
rifling,
son of a bitch.
it's going to give it a little
Write that
torque
down.
this way.
Quit
And so
showing off.
eventually, your barrel will unscrew. That's why the new TSR
Andre,
from
you
Accuracy
ready?
International, what you do, whenever you put in a barrel, you put it in hand tight, you put it till it stops. And then you put the lock ring on it. Because every time it shoots, it's going to assure that it doesn't. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of shit out there that I wouldn't know was bullshit if I wasn't doing this before 2001, because that's when shit went crazy. So
Well, I know, like, I can remember in the early 2000s having to go out and do data collection, and it was, you know, here's your ammo, shoot 100, shoot 200,
Bottoms up.
300, and then you'd go all the way back, and then you write that shit down, and then, you know, late 2010, Bennett came down to teach a class, and everybody was just running ABC.
All right, up on the
No
right
data
side.
books.
What were you
And
holding?
they were like, yeah, it's the most efficient thing ever. We saved you. You know, I'm like, yeah, but you're taking the fucking ABCs back.
Alright,
You've
go
taught
with
them all
center.
this shit, but they don't have that. So what are they going to do after that point? And shooting that ammo also shows them what happens. It's enabling their learning. It shouldn't just be like, cool, I took one box of ammo. I shot all the targets I got to hit, and I'm good to go. You know, because you were shooting back then,
Hold
you
up.
saw what happened, gave you the skill set and the
That was it.
ability
You're holding
to
center?
say that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Because the guy's
Did
put
the
in
shot
time
feel
behind
good?
that gun and seen what happens,
All right,
he can
let
say
me just left
that's
to
not a
center.
factor,
Right.
or this is what I'm going to do.
Right.
But fucking,
it's and I get it. I get it. We've got.
Yeah,
Here's
just
the
slow.
thing. Ballistics.
All right, come up.
It's stupid simple. It's
point
stupid simple.
4.
The bullets are going to do the exact same thing every time. They're going to react to their environment, meaning they're going to react to the density altitude. They're going to do the same thing. We cannot build this industry and
Nice.
make a shit ton of money if it
Elevation's
was
right
this
there.
stupid simple.
yeah.
You know what I
That was
mean?
just a
It's
little
got
bit to
to
the
have.
right.
It has to have
From center.
voodoo involved.
Well, I mean, it used to be like from the sniper
work.
school.
Go ahead and write
It'd
it
be
down.
like, you know, the art
up?
doesn't choose a man, or a man doesn't choose the art chooses a man.
All right.
Like, bitch, don't tell. I get it. You're telling that to the guy who failed, so he feels better about himself. But
Right.
you know, you can teach a blind monkey to pull the fucking trigger.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. It is
Monkey
an
and
if
AK.
then proposition.
Yeah.
If you do this, this happens. If you
The,
do this,
the only time it gets subjective is fieldcraft,
yeah.
because some guys suck
All
at
right, I
fieldcraft.
think I saw
Yeah,
this, John.
exactly,
Give me
exactly.
another one.
And again, the whole thing is like a lot of the people who come in and they shoot the gun, they think that this is it. It's about 4%
Yep.
of a sniper shot. It's about 4%.
I tell guys all the time, I'm like, I was a 70% sniper. Like going
Alright,
through
yeah, you're
the
low on the
schoolhouse,
left edge. Go ahead and come
my
up
marksmanship
point
was like,
and right.
yeah, I grew up
point
shooting. I knew how to shoot.
3.
The way we shot was different. So like a lot of the tables, I was like, okay, I'm 70, 80%. By no means was I like fucking stellar, but I was good at employment and
Roger,
field
stand by,
craft,
Jimbo.
you know. And it's like,
And that's what makes a
Right,
difference.
but
you know?
and then you can learn how to shoot.
Right. Absolutely.
Figuring
Well,
out.
it's like, here's the thing. Whenever countries are looking for
All right,
biathletes,
still on the right. You're on the
they
right
find
edge now.
people who can ski
Jimbo.
because they can teach them how to shoot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They can teach them how to shoot.
Try to teach the hillbilly from Texas how to shoot.
Yeah,
That doesn't
exactly.
work.
He might be able to shoot
Alright.
Yeah.
like a fucking
John,
wild man.
what was your
if he
last,
can't ski,
wind hold?
because that is something that
Okay.
that's something
Send
you're
it.
either talented at or you're not. But this, it can be learned.
Yep.